Cowboys win Super Bowl 58. The Raiders, they made it to the playoffs for the first time since they moved to Las Vegas with the interim coach Rich Bisaccia, who took over after John Gruden was fired. Now, before he joined the Raiders to lead them to their first playoff berth as the Las Vegas Raiders, he was with the Dallas Cowboys from 2013 to 2017. So it was a coach who joined from the Cowboys, who ultimately led the Raiders to their first playoff berth during their time in Vegas. And it is the Cowboys that are going to win the Super Bowl. Rich Bisaccia is born on June the 3rd, a day of 6-3. The Cowboys improved to 6-3 in the Super Bowl. Rich Bisaccia, in his connection to the Cowboys and leading the Raiders to their first playoff berth since moving to Vegas, has everything with the winner when the Raiders do host the Super Bowl. In Gematria, it is Rich Bisaccia, that's Gematria, the Dallas Cowboys in Super Bowl 58. So he was a coach of the Cowboys. The significance of the Raiders' first playoff berth in Vegas going to connect to the winner of the Super Bowl. You also know exactly how it connects to his birth of June the 3rd, because the Cowboys improved to 6-3 in the Super Bowl. Now the 35th quarterback to win the Super Bowl is going to be Dak Prescott. Prescott is Gematria of 35. The Raiders, when they made it to the playoffs for the first time in Vegas, they defeated the Chargers with 35 points. And it's Prescott that's going to be the 35th quarterback to win the Super Bowl. There's a total of 64 points when the game went into overtime. The Cowboys, Dak Prescott improves to 6-4 in the playoffs to lead the Cowboys to the Super Bowl. Now, Bisaccia took over for John Gruden after the email scandal. It was John Gruden that coached a total 53 games with the Raiders before Rich Bisaccia took over. The Cowboys' record entering the Super Bowl would be 5-3. As far as 3-2 goes for Gruden, that may have to do with the opponent. Chiefs is Gematria 32. He did face off against the Broncos the very first game since his firing. Now, what about the Chargers, the team that they beat to make it to the playoffs? Las Vegas, Nevada. It did feature the Chargers in Week 18. And it is Dallas Cowboys that has Gematria of Las Vegas, Nevada. Rich Bisaccia coached a total of 13 games with the Raiders. Dallas is Gematria 13. The Raiders made the playoffs 13 years after John Gruden. They made the playoffs 13 weeks after John Gruden's resignation. It is the Raiders, their last Super Bowl. It occurred while they were at L.A. So that connection to the Raiders' last Super Bowl at L.A., it's L.A. that is Gematria of Dallas when you interpret it that way. So not only does Dak Prescott win the Super Bowl exactly 40 months after his ankle injury against the Giants, and not only did the Cowboys score 40 points to win 40-0 in Week 1, to beat the Falcons with the score of 40-39 in Mike McCarthy's first game. But this Super Bowl would mark 40 years from Super Bowl 18. So that's how you connect the Raiders hosting it 40 years after they last won the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 18, because Dak Prescott, the 40-4 life path, is going to win the Super Bowl exactly 40 months after his ankle injury to lead the Cowboys to their 40th playoff win as a franchise all time. The amount of time from the time that the Raiders made the playoffs to the Super Bowl is 109 weeks. First NFC winner since Los Angeles. Los Angeles is 109. That is the significance of 109. Just over 25 months later, Dak Prescott had his ankle injury against the Giants. The season began against the Giants. The Giants is 25. The Cowboys win their 25th NFC East title. That's kind of the significance of 25. So yeah, that 13 weeks is absolutely going to hold a lot of significance. But what about the time from the Raiders' very first game as a franchise? Now, it's interesting to note, too, that, well, let me get to that point in a second, or right now. The Raiders have 24 wins so far ever since they moved to Las Vegas as the Super Bowl host. Actually, this does include 2023. The Raiders are 6-8 right now. They have 30 wins during their time in Las Vegas. The Cowboys can win their first Super Bowl since Super Bowl 30 because Cowboys is 30. The Rams is Gamache 30. There's just no chance that the Raiders are going to win a game over the last few weeks. Now, Antonio Pierce, a former New York Giant, does take over. The season for the Cowboys began against the Giants. Dak had his ankle injury against the Giants. So Antonio Pierce is absolutely going to connect to the Cowboys beginning the season against New York. He was a Super Bowl winner on the 42nd day against the Patriots to that perfect 18-0, 19-0 season. Vegas 18. As far as the coaching record goes, it's going to be 3-6, kind of like Nevada, the 36th admitted state in the union. It's going to fall to 3-4, then 3-5, and 3-6 for 6 total losses. Understand the Raiders going to end the year with 6 wins because the Cowboys win their 6th championship and they would have a total of 30 wins ever since moving to Las Vegas. As the host of the Super Bowl, the Cowboys win their first Super Bowl since Super Bowl 58. It's what about to go down for the Dallas Cowboys to end the season. And so the amount of losses for the Raiders ever since moving to Vegas, 37, they would have 38 losses. Raiders is 38, 37 is Gamache of Los Angeles. So they're absolutely going to lose the Broncos. They're going to lose to the Chiefs. We'll see about this one right there. We'll see if they do beat Indianapolis, but it allows Indianapolis to stay alive if they win. And then the Colts miss out in Week 17. Then the Broncos get their first win against the Raiders in 6 tries to make it to the playoffs. But anyway, going back to Coach Rich. His time with the Cowboys, how many losses from 2013 to 2017? 36. Kind of like the Cowboys, 36 postseason berth this year. Between the playoffs and 36 wins. Last win in the Super Bowl in their 36th NFL season, because when we go to the 1995 Dallas Cowboys, you're about to see that that's their 36th season. In Bisaccia, he lost a total of 36 games during his time with the Cowboys. He won a total of 47, and silver is the 47th element in a periodic table. AG is 47. That's the 47th element. The silver element wins at the Silver State. So that's worth mentioning in the meantime. So they beat the Panthers with 64 total points in the game. Dak Prescott improved to 6-4 in the Super Bowl. There have been 34 prior quarterbacks who won the Super Bowl. They beat the Panthers with 34 points. The Panthers is same Gamache as Raiders. The Panthers is 53 and the Raiders is 53. So their first win against the Panthers, Gamache 53. The Dallas Cowboys enter the Super Bowl with a 5-3 record. 5 Super Bowls and 8 appearances, making it the Super Bowl 58. So September 13 of 2020. The amount of time from their first game as Vegas to the time that they host the game. What's the connection? What is Super Bowl? That's Gamache 41. It would be 3 years in the 5th month since the first game against the Panthers. And again, Prescott's the 35th quarterback to win the Super Bowl. He ended Tom Brady, and now he wins the Super Bowl. That's significance of 35. 35th quarterback to win the Super Bowl. Also, Mark Davis is hosting the game. Mark Davis is going to see a new quarterback win the Super Bowl. His name is Rain Dakota. So Bisaccia is 47, and he's got 36 losses. Yeah, he coached. He was with the Cowboys for a total of 83 games. Tom Brady's born on August the 3rd. Cowboys were 8-3 when Dak Prescott threw his 23rd touchdown pass. It was a Las Vegas. I've documented that before. If you want to see the video, the exact figures, go ahead and see it. Wonder how many games the Raiders would have since John Gruden uh, was fired. Or just how many total wins during Bisaccia's time with the Raiders, making those connections. I need to go to the schedule, the complete picture. So there it is. 17 games. He was gone after this game. So it was 12 games that year for the Raiders. 2022, 2023, and a playoff game. So the 47th element is silver, the silver state. 47 seems to be dominating the headlines. And just how many games Bisaccia coached while with the Raiders is also going to be another thing to look out for as well. So 2018, he joins the Raiders. 2019. 2020 was a 16-game regular season. And then 2021, 2022. So how many games is that? He coached 66 total games. It is Rich Bisaccia that's Gematria 66. Rich Bisaccia, or Coach Richard Bisaccia is Gematria 68, I think. Coach Bisaccia, maybe Gematria of, maybe not. Anyway, moving on. You know, I do wonder how much time it was from the playoff berth to the time of Rich Bisaccia's birthday in 2022. Or better yet, I think the point that I think I want to make here is once we go back 2020, 2021, and 33, and then game number 34. There have been 34 prior quarterbacks win the Super Bowl. The Raiders, they lost in the playoffs in their 34th game during their time in Vegas. But definitely the Dallas Cowboys going to win the Super Bowl. And the Raiders, they made it to the playoffs for the first time in Las Vegas with a coach who joined from the Cowboys. So that's going to be very subliminal as we relate that event in time to the time that the Cowboys do win the Super Bowl.